Welcome back to another video. What is the American dream? Is it the promise of prosperity, freedom and happiness for anyone willing to work hard enough? Or has it become an elusive goal, slipping further out of reach for millions of Americans in 2024? Today, we're diving deep into the realities of achieving the American dream in modern times and the challenges that make it more difficult than ever.
Hi, I'm Sam Blackwell, and in this video, we're going to explore the many obstacles that prevent millions of people from achieving the American dream today. From skyrocketing housing costs and student debt to job instability and the ever-widening wealth gap, how does someone even begin to reach for success in 2024? Let's break it down.
Back in the mid-20th century, the American dream was a relatively clear concept: owning a home, raising a family, and enjoying upward mobility through a stable career. Back then, a single income could often support an entire household, and there was a general sense that hard work and perseverance would lead to a comfortable life. But here we are in 2024, and that dream looks a lot different. For some, the idea of home ownership or financial security seems more like a fantasy than an achievable goal. The American dream, which once symbolized middle-class stability, now represents something different for each person, if it exists at all.
The American dream has evolved significantly. For younger generations, it's less about material success and more about financial independence, flexibility, and personal fulfillment. But even achieving that is becoming increasingly difficult given the economic and social challenges we're facing today.
One of the biggest barriers to achieving the American dream today is the housing market. In many parts of the US, home ownership has become nearly unattainable for the average person. In 2024, the national median home price has skyrocketed to over $400,000, and in major cities like San Francisco, New York, or Seattle, prices soar well beyond that. Wages haven't kept up with this surge in housing prices, making it harder for first-time buyers to get a foothold in the market. Add to that rising mortgage rates, and you have a recipe for disaster. Especially for millennials and Gen Z, many of whom are already dealing with crushing student loan debt.
We both work full-time and still can't afford a house in the city we grew up in. The down payment alone is out of reach. Renting feels like throwing money away, but it's our only option right now.
Renters aren't faring much better. In 2024, the national average rent is over $1,700 a month, with some cities seeing averages upwards of $3,000. For many, rent consumes a significant portion of their monthly income, leaving little room for savings or investment in the future. Another major hurdle in the pursuit of the American dream is student debt. In 2024, Americans collectively owe over $1.7 trillion in student loans. For many young adults, this debt has created a financial burden that delays or even prevents major life milestones like buying a home, starting a family, or even pursuing their career passions.
I thought going to college would be the key to success, but now I'm drowning in debt. I'm stuck paying hundreds of dollars a month just to cover interest on my loans, and I feel like I'm barely getting ahead. It's frustrating because I did everything I was supposed to do, and it still feels impossible to get ahead.
Higher education was once seen as a path to upward mobility, but with tuition costs skyrocketing and wages stagnating, that path has become much narrower. Many graduates find themselves working in jobs that don't even require a degree just to keep up with loan payments, leading to a cycle of financial strain. The American workforce has also changed dramatically in recent years. While previous generations could rely on stable, long-term employment with benefits, today's workers face an economy that's increasingly dominated by contract jobs and gig work.
I'm working 3 different side jobs just to make ends meet. There are no benefits, no job security, and I'm constantly worried about how I'll cover expenses if anything goes wrong. It's exhausting.
In 2024, millions of Americans are part of the gig economy, which offers flexibility but often lacks the financial security of traditional employment. Benefits like health insurance, paid time off, and retirement savings are either non-existent or come with a high cost. This leads to financial uncertainty for many workers, making it harder to build wealth or plan for the future. For many, the traditional path to the American dream, a stable career that allows for home ownership, savings, and retirement, has been replaced by a more precarious reality of juggling multiple jobs just to get by. One of the most significant challenges facing Americans in 2024 is the ever-widening wealth gap. The richest 1% of Americans now hold more wealth than the bottom 90% combined. As the wealthy continue to amass fortunes, the middle and working classes are being left behind, making social mobility more difficult than ever before.
The concentration of wealth at the top is a major barrier to achieving the American dream for most people. While the cost of living continues to rise, wages remain stagnant for much of the population. This inequality makes it harder for families to save, invest, or climb the economic ladder.
As wealth inequality grows, the opportunities for financial success become more concentrated among the already wealthy. This creates a system where the rich get richer, while the majority struggle to keep their heads above water. The cost of living has also risen dramatically in recent years, making it harder for the average American to afford basic necessities like food, housing, and healthcare. Inflation hit record highs in the early 2020s, and while it has cooled slightly in 2024, prices are still significantly higher than just a few years ago.
It feels like everything is more expensive now. Groceries, gas, utilities. We're cutting back on so many things just to make sure we can pay the bills every month.
While the cost of everyday goods has surged, wages have struggled to keep pace, leaving many Americans with less purchasing power. This widening gap between income and expenses is pushing more families into financial hardship, making the American dream seem further out of reach.